Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tangents, the podcast where we follow the conversational thread wherever it may lead. My name is Cam, and with me is my good friend Alex.
Hello, I am that one.
And we have hired him for the next hour to torture him with hypotheticals and other such situations. So, I think we have a decent amount of stuff on the list today. How about you? I'm feeling good about our topics.
We've got two topics, but I think both of them have a lot to go with. And they're pretty closely linked as well, because we've both gone through them both. We've gone, I think we got the stories to tell.
Yeah. So, first things first, I decided, since last week I kind of talked about my whole little issue that I was having internally, it would be a prudent time for us to talk about burnout and your work-life balance. Because, Alex, what's one thing you've known about my work-life balance?
It's absolutely abhorrent.
It is abysmal. To call it a balance is like calling a Skittles-only diet balanced. It is comedically bad.
Hey, how much time do we have per week for us to do collaborative stuff or even just chat, really?
We have an hour at most, and we've been using it for the podcast.
Why would that be, Cam?
Because I work 2 jobs to scrape by. If I don't, I go bankrupt. Society. Bottom text.
Oh my fucking god.
Come on.
Immediately.
Come here. That fit. Don't even give it to me.
No. It doesn't mean you need to bring every damn time.
It is called branding, Alex.
This is
I
not
have
the
a very
brand.
strong personal brand.
This is not the brand to be fighting for.
It is now. But so the thing is, though, so I wanted to kind of give some tips about maintaining your sanity with a bad work-life balance, because it's important to have a good work-life balance. Like, this episode is coming on the heels of me saying, I upload to YouTube whenever the hell I upload. When it's done when it's done, enjoy your free content. Like, I have been taking the steps to reassess my life to make life suck less. Because God, has life sucked. Dude, like, honestly, I legitimately, working 2 jobs has been killer on me. Oh, I thought that was a bug in my room. It was just a car passing in between the space between my tablet and the window. I'm sorry. I just completely lost my train of thought because I looked somewhere else for 13 seconds.
Oh, don't worry, dude. That happens to me quite often. My hair is quite long at this time, and I use, like, a hair clip. I use, like, a hairband to, like, pull it back up, and every now and again a strand of hair just, like, pops down beside my eye, in my peripheral, and I just see it, like, and I just, like, freaking jump backwards. It's just, oh, cool, that wasn't a bug, that was just my hair. I'm not used to long hair at the moment.
Yeah, I'm still debating if I want to grow mine out or not. But so here's the thing. I have found that I actually probably have more time in my week than I previously thought. As weird as that sounds, given how busy I tend to be, one of the things that actually I think is really helpful for people who are starting to get afraid of burnout is, hey, just take a vacation. It's probably not worth it.
Yeah, this whole idea of if you can't take a day off, which is by definition a day off, and you feel guilty and everything, that's not a day off. This idea of always got to be grinding, always got to be doing work and all this kind of stuff. You can take time off for yourself to enjoy yourself. It's one of the most important parts of life.
But yeah, no, like that's the thing is, like, I was always in that exact boat of, like, my day off, I feel guilty I'm not working, which is why I killed stuff that had such hard deadlines. Like, I have found that making too many plans and having too many commitments will just lead to a bad mood overall. Like, I know I always advocate, like, push yourself, find your limit, and go beyond it, but, like, only go a little bit beyond it, you know? Like, you'll have day-to-day commitments that you have to meet, but as I'm getting older, I'm discovering that the more of those I have, the more miserable I am.
Yeah, no, it's why I've kind of, like, stopped doing that. For some people, having, like, a stacked schedule per day or per week really works for them, because it means, right, I know exactly what I've got to do. I've got to do this, and that. But if, like, you start to, like, fall behind on things, because let's face it, you're not going to be, like, completely efficient all the way through. There's going to be things that are going to pop up and, like, really delay things.
Yeah. Like, the way I like to put it is, it's important to never have a 0 day, but it's important that you recognize that not every day will be an 100 day. And that's, like, percent of things done. So, like, if I go through my day and I sculpt for an hour and it's just directionless, I'm still building that muscle memory of sculpting. My day had some life progress. But at the same time, if I take a day and do 8 hours of study, that's insane. That's fantastic. But if I do that every day, I'm going to burn myself out because I am now operating at maximum capacity for way too long. I'm actually shocked I managed to get like 2 years out of going full throttle for as long as I did, dude. Like that was actually kind of.
It was impressive.
It speaks to my resilience. The breakdown, not the best part, but well, like that's the thing. Is like you have to accept that not every day will have you performing at your max because that's just not how we work. Like to give a good example, the amount of calories I burn per day is based off of a lot of factors. What have I eaten? How much caffeine have I had? What mood am I in? How's my heart rate? Like, there's so much that goes into it, and to assume that every last variable will be at peak is stupid. And to force it is near impossible. Some people can, I would respect, but most people can't. So it's like, it's the same thing with life. Like, the amount of crap you're gonna get done in any given day is determined by so many factors, and not just like how busy you've made yourself. Like, I've discovered that having a packed schedule helped me organize, but living consciously has actually served me much better, I found.
To kind of harp on that, like, one of the things that I've started doing in the last couple of weeks is I have this tiny little handheld whiteboard, which I just fill with my tasks for the day. And I order them in important to things that, if I get done, excellent. Then they can just get pushed down to like the next week.
Yeah.
Being able to like not treat everything as like, oh, this is important, must be done, is like, nah. I gotta start prioritizing. Because if, as you say, having completely stacked, it's just setting yourself up for failure.
Yep, because having a stacked schedule will imply to yourself that you are now morally responsible to do that thing all the time. Like, this is something that my friend's been trying to beat into my head for years. She's been seeing the breakdown, like she knew what was coming. So she's been trying to help me like not be a goober about it, and God bless her, she finally got it. But like, I kind of realized that there is a merit in, rather than forcing yourself on a rigid schedule, to just like you said, knowing your tasks and just living your day. Because like, I've discovered that if I am able to consciously think about the decisions I am making, I make better decisions. Like, there's no need for me to have a rigid schedule because I can sit down, look at my task list, and think to myself, what is the most important? I can look around, like, see things with my eyes, like what needs to be done. Like, maintaining a level of cognizance in your moment to moment, I find serves you better than setting unrealistic expectations of operating at maximum capacity eternally.
No, yeah, kind of like going on that. A good trick that I learned a while back, a fair few years back in college, was the Moscow trick, which is extremely useful. It works for any kind of project. It works for any kind of scheduling. It works for anything in your life. Do you know what the Moscow trick is?
Nope, never heard of it. Is it when you overthrow the government?
That's part of it. No, it's Moscow, MSCW. The way is you just take everything that you need to be doing, if it's for a project, if it's for your day, for your week, for your month, for the year, whatever. And basically, you break down your tasks into prioritization. So you work from the top, M, which is must-have, which is these are non-negotiable stuff, you need to get these done, down to S, which should be should-have, which is important. And you should have that. If you get through the M, you start working on the S. Then you go down to C, which is could have, which is it would be nice to have. These are things that you would quite like to do, but obviously M and S come forward. And W, these are like the long shots, will not have. So it's an idea of like, you've looked at these have come across your mind, but you understand that with everything else, these are the bottom of the priority.
Yeah.
So Moscow, it really works.
See, my thing with that is I always end up with a task list way too long because I am too ambitious, which brings me to my next point. A lot of burnout is self-inflicted, I've discovered.
Yeah, it really is.
At least on my end, because, like, here's the thing. Anyone who knows me knows that I am an exceedingly ambitious man. I got dreams, I got goals. I've discovered that taking a gun to those is very important.
No, I'm the same. I'm the same. Like, everything that I do is always working towards something way, way, way much larger. I've always been a much larger picture person to the point where I don't focus on the small things, which I really should be doing. Which I'm still trying to break out of. I'm always trying to think of like, come down to where I am instead of where I want to be, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, I constantly swap between missing the forest for the trees and missing the trees for the forest. I've never been able to see both the big and small picture as much as I need to. Which again, living consciously has helped with that, especially because I'm a video game producer now, so I have to be able to take objective high-level looks and low-level looks at everything.
Yeah.
So like that training's been super helpful for me. But like my thing is like let's go over the pre-nerfed list of all the things that I wanted to do. Okay, you ready for this? This is going to be the next 45 minutes of the podcast. Get ready. So I wanted to work on my environment art, do character art, maintain my YouTube, bodybuilding, doing fancy cooking because I like doing a lot of not high-end stuff, but like trying new dishes. I wanted to raid in Final Fantasy. I wanted to get good at Guilty Gear, bodybuilding a second time. It's what's for dinner. But like, so we're already up to like 7 things, 8 things even.
And each of those take up an incredible amount of time.
Yeah, to just give the art the time that it needs, each one would need an hour a day for me to make any sort of realistic progress. So my life stagnated because I had spread myself across too many ponds and I wasn't casting an effective net. Now, you want to know what I got?
How many?
Hang out with friends, sculpt characters, YouTube whenever I want to, and bodybuilding.
There we go. Nice.
And it's become so much easier to live. I sculpt at night when I'm in voice chat with my friends. I have spent the morning playing Minecraft. I don't even feel bad about that for once. Like, having goals and ambitions is fantastic, and you should always have them. I find that people who have something that they treasure as something about themselves, like an activity, are genuinely just kind of happier because they have something they can focus their energies on. Like, I tried to sculpt my friend's Final Fantasy character. It looked like shit, and I was happy with it because sculpting is just something I want to do. Like, that's something that I've discovered. Like, it's very easy for ambitions to be driven by the end goal rather than the passion, which is why that I'm happy I'm doing sculpting and it fucking sucks. It's awful. And I am elated by that.
Which is bizarre to think about.
Yeah, because you know how stressed I got about the quality of all my videos, and it's just like I would crank out like an absolute just banger. Like it would be my best video to date, and I'd be like, "This is the worst thing I've ever produced. Why do people remain subscribed to me?" Like I hated the product of my work because in reality, what I simply wanted was for YouTube to let me live a comfortable life. I've discovered that that is actually what my main goal has been for years, is I just want to live a comfortable life where I can indulge in my passions.
I think that's what everyone wants, because that's exactly what I want to do as well.
Yeah.
And like, I'm starting to have to like readjust and kind of like consider how I'm approaching things as well. It's exactly why I'm going back to uni to get a degree in something else. Because whilst I keep trying to push for this kind of stuff and for my dream, I've been focusing way too much on the dream.
Yeah. Like, there's got to be a little bit of realism alongside your ambitions. Like, my brother, bless his heart, like, he helped me talk through this entire thing last week. But he was literally like, man, my entire point was to just live as comfortably as possible and have a happy life. And I was sitting there just like, God, that's right. That's actually that's how I should be doing this. Like, it clicked a lot of wires in my head that had never been connected. And a lot of people had been trying to connect them for me. My parents had been trying to. You've been trying to. Like, so many people have been trying to. But it took my brother basically coming in and plugging the wire in for me to like get what everyone's been saying. And like, the thing is I've kind of discovered, yes, I want to live a comfortable life, but I've discovered internally at least that the comfortable life is a byproduct of indulging in the ambitions that you truly love. Like, this is something I think that separates a lot of people from people who say they want to do something. Because it's like, you know, a lot of people want to be, I'm just going to use YouTube as an example. A lot of people want to be a YouTuber because they view it as a way to get a comfortable life. But the people who end up making it on YouTube are the ones who are genuinely passionate about their craft. Like, I mean, not everyone who is genuinely passionate makes it. Let's not beat around that bush. But I find that, like, if it's something that you just love, you will find a way to make it work. To harp on the content creator example, maybe a small YouTuber starts a Patreon and they start pushing it alongside their content because they want to be able to put more time into their passion. Maybe they're selling merch because their ad revenue is down because they refuse to compromise on their artistic vision. Maybe they are constantly in need of money to reinvent their ideas. So what they do is they, stockpile money through less passionate projects so they can work on their big passion project. Like, people who have something that they love and cherish for themselves tend to go further. Like, especially when it's something that's internal. If it's like a focus on a completely external thing, then that's not something you can make an achievable goal, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I always advocate for people to experiment with stuff, because I think it's important that people find what they're passionate about. Like, I don't like environment art. I like environment art. I like how my end products look, but I have way more fun sculpting characters because it feels like the creation of life. You're breathing a soul into pixels. I think that's really neat. Like, it allows for a lot of expression. But an environment artist might disagree. They might find that they can put their heart and soul into making, like, an environment that reflects how they're feeling. Like, there's just so much passion that people can indulge in. And when people are focused more on the end goal of the passion as opposed to the passion itself, that's when it falls apart. Because like we said a couple of podcasts ago, you have to love the process. Oh no, did I kill Alex? Did I speak too long by myself?
I was just listening. Sorry.
Yeah, I stopped to give you like time to get some words in edgewise because I always feel bad when I dominate the podcast.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, yeah, we're talking about burnout and all this kind of stuff, and I kind of want to pull back the curtains a little bit. We're both feeling it today. Like,
yeah, no, God, I want to die.
Yeah, like I'm absolutely knackered. I've got like 2 things to be editing. I've got another thing in the process that I need to get done, which was out yesterday, but I've had to pull down. I've got like so many things that I need to be doing today, and I'm just I've been having like this really good high of everything's been going right. Like I've been like crushing work. I've been doing really good stuff. I've been pushing myself. I've caught up on my backlog of things that I want to be doing for like my personal stuff. And I've set myself up with the stepping blocks to move towards much larger life things. So I'm in a good position right now. There's other places that I need to be working on, absolutely. But it's a case of today is just one of those days where it just kind of crashes. And it's just a case of, yeah, of course, if you got a high, there's going to be a low, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But mentally, I'm just not really there. But this is the only day because we're both so busy that we can really be doing things. And we've got a lot to be doing next week, so we can't push things off. So it's just, burnout and work-life balance. We've sometimes you just got to push through and be okay with things not being 100% best of the best that you know that you can do.
On my end, I'm not actually burnt out due to working too hard for once. Like, things are going good on the career front, things are going good on the Calibus front, things are going good with character sculpting. My thing is so I started therapy yesterday. And it's EMDR, which is they overload your mind to force you back into like the traumatized state so you can like sort the brain spaghetti, basically. You can figure out where wires are getting crossed and where things are stuck. The downside is you will feel weird for a good while after. So yesterday I got out of therapy ready to kill God, and today I feel as though I have been smitten. I am down in the mud. Like
God fought back.
Yeah, damn, God got hands. But yeah, no, like that's the thing. It's like I'm just like I'm at the point where it's like, hey, brain wants to process, brain wants to feel things, it wants to figure out how it's feeling, why it's feeling. And I actually have a chart that helps me track how I'm feeling and why I'm feeling that way. I've been taking active audits of myself just to make sure I don't ever get into that pit again, because I will feel sad. Pain is part of life, and without pain, life couldn't exist. We'd never grow. But simultaneously, too much of it and you burn out and die. So I've been keeping track of just like how I'm feeling things, why I'm feeling things. Like, honestly, a real big fan of finally doing therapy. I think it's going to help my burnout issues quite a good deal because I can sort of learn the signs preemptively.
Yeah, I mean, that's mainly what therapy does, to my understanding, is it helps identify things and it helps sort things out and blah, blah, blah. But it's mainly there to like introduce you and make you aware and learn the tools to help better and understand yourself and figure out how to handle things as they arrive.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I've been lacking in tools, so it's nice to finally get them. I will say though, it was kind of funny because like my therapist was like, all right, Cam, like halfway through the session, he's like, all right, what are you thinking? And I looked him dead in the eye, like half sobbing. I just went, the first monkey that ate cooked meat really should have stayed in its goddamn lane. Because goddamn, that monkey really did start evolution. Actually, that's like such a fascinating thing to me, actually. Like an ape had to make cooked food to get the proteins to bust up our mind. And like now we're stuck with taxes. So like, thanks, asshole.
Now, I know that this is called the Tangents Podcast, but what the fuck was that?
No, dude, like humor is how I deal with stress. Like, you know this. I make jokes at the most inappropriate of times because I'm trying to break the tension because it makes me uncomfortable. So like me on the verge of tears in therapy, reliving some like really heavy shit. I'm just like, that fish sort of stayed in the primordial soup.
Actually, I gotta ask, is it in person or is it over?
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually in person.
Yeah, no, I'm thrilled. Like that's something that I really needed, was for it to be in person.
Yeah.
Because like, I think half of everyone's issues right now is we're all just isolated as hell. Like,
yeah. The isolation I've got, I'm dealing with things on my own. Like I would kill to go to therapy, but I don't have the money for it at the moment. Speaking of, patreon.com podcast tangents, just saying. No, I'd absolutely kill for it because I am the youngest of 3 brothers. And our family, I'm going to be 100% real with you. I haven't talked about this too much. My family is not exactly the most functional. It's not the best. It's not a good... It left a lot to be desired. I'm not saying it's the worst, but it's not exactly been very good in the past. The brother just older than me went to therapy, and it really, really helped him, apparently. And I would love for that. I want to do it because I know that I really need it. Like, I really, really need it. I need to get these tools. I need to get these things sorted out.
Yeah. Well, like, the thing with therapy is it only works if you're honest with yourself and your therapist. Like,
dude, I went through a period of like the last 2 years of being way too honest with myself and others around me and oversharing.
I mean, yes, that was me this last year with one specific friend, but it's like, the thing is like, it's working well for me because I am being honest with myself about how I am feeling and why I am feeling that way. And I've always had a good grasp of what's going on internally. Like, you know me, I'm able to like kind of root around and figure out the issues that I have. Like, because I've done that before with you. The issue is I've never known how to take care of them. So it's like, I've known about issues, I just haven't been able to handle them. But then you have people like one of my former friends who went to therapy, basically lied their ass off to the therapist to get the therapist to agree with them, as opposed to diagnosing the actual problems and trauma. Yeah. So like, therapy only really works if you're willing to be honest and vulnerable with a complete stranger that you're paying. Like,
that's the thing. I don't understand the point of trying. I don't understand the mindscape of what that person was trying to do. Because don't get me wrong, everybody wants to like feel justified. They want to like, you know, feel what they're doing is right. They want to make sure that what they're doing. They want the reassurance that what they're doing is right for them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But lying to a therapist whose job is to try and help you understand and make your life a little bit better, you know, give you the tools to make you live a more, going back to it, a more comfortable life and understanding, get a firmer grip around your life, I think is the best way to put it.
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of people who act subparly know that they're acting subparly and want justification for their terrible actions rather than to correct their terrible actions. Because if they admit that they're wrong, then they have to deal with the guilt.
Yeah, because they don't want to deal with accountability. Because this is something that I've been coming off of, is being treated absolutely poorly by a lot of people in my life. I say a few people in my life, which had massive impact on me, but they then just ignore it. They try to act as they either like just drop me as a person because they don't want to deal with the issues that they have caused, or they just try and ignore it and then get pissed at me because I'm trying to be like, no, that's not all right, actually. What you just did was not all right. People just don't, that people just don't want to be accountable for their own shitty actions.
Yeah. Like, I used to be one of those people. Like, I'm glad I'm not. A lot of my self-image issues actually comes from being a former piece of shit.
Well, that's the thing. Myself, like,
former,
I am the first person to call myself out if I do something shitty. Like, I learned from a couple of, like, a fair few years back, I realized I was doing something really bad, and, like, I got called out on it. Like, I'm gonna tell this story, and this is probably gonna be kind of a bad idea considering the internet. Back in college, back in university, I moved in with two friends from college to go to university because we wanted to live closer to the place. And one of them was, I didn't know at the time, was bisexual. And at the time, it was like 2013, something like that. And it was internet culture at the time. I didn't think anything of it. And I dropped the F slur just casually in conversation. And I thought it was just like funny because it was like internet jokes at the time, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then the friend who was unknown, I didn't know who was bisexual, took offense to it and walked off. I didn't understand. And it was only like 2 days later that I realized what it was. And I saw the impact it had. Something I thought was absolutely fine. I saw the impact of that. And I was just like, never fucking again. No, absolutely not. And from that point forward, where I'd always be checking is like, is this okay? Is this fine? It got a bit too extreme at times, but no, at this point, I've learned, because I saw the impact of my actions on somebody else, that I started to take myself accountable for my own actions.
Well, that's always how it goes, right? Like, it feels bad to, like, realize, oh, what have I done?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of my issues come from like, oh, well, if it isn't the consequences of my actions, how are you doing today? Like, that's always like the thing that I think slaps most people. It's just like, ah, yes, here comes payment for checks cashed. Like, that's why I think it's important to maintain like some level of again, conscious thought throughout your day. I used to never think before speaking. And it caused a lot of issues, and thankfully that's no longer an issue. I think before words come out of my mouth. Literally half of my income is public speaking, and the other half is effective communication. Like, yeah, boys gotta speak forever now.
You see, you say that, but half of my job is public speaking as well, and that still terrifies me, considering how many people listen to what we say, and we're just being dumb, and I don't think about what I say. Like, if I think about what I say, it's a case of I'll just overthink it. And at that point, I just paralyze and then I just stop and I'm just like, I seem to have come to a standstill again. So I've got to the stage where it's just, I don't think really about what I'm saying. I just have like an overarching idea. It's just, I trust myself at this point that I'm not going to say anything dumb because I know that I say dumb. Anything offensive and just anything like that, because over the years, I've made myself not think that kind of stuff. I've kind of pushed myself away, if that makes sense.
Yeah, see, my issue is I'm not afraid I'm going to drop a slur or something. Like, that's not who I've ever really been.
No, that's the thing. Like, do you ever have that fear? Like, you know that you're not that person, but you just fear that it's just going to happen for absolutely no reason.
Nope.
Really?
That's never really been an issue for me. Yeah, I have literally had a single gamer moment in the last 10 years, and it was with close friends who immediately called me on it, and then were immediately like, hey man, you doing okay? You don't normally say anything like that. And I was just like, thank you guys. I'm sorry that I had a gamer moment. But it's like, that's the thing though, right? Like, I am horrified of like pissing people off by accident because I don't understand things, which is why it's kind of weird for me meeting new people, especially if there's like pre-existing knowledge of them, because it's like, I don't want to do anything to piss this person off. Like, I would rather just go about my day and live quietly. Man, I can't wait. Dude, it's so nice living quietly.
I'm saying the cottagecore aesthetic is the way to go. Just live a nice, quiet life. I'm
reflecting on this now, right? Like, I've been able to live quietly for most of this week. I've been just sculpting, going to the gym. I ran on a treadmill yesterday for the first time in years. Like, I can't tell you how good that feels. Like, dude, no, like, hear me out here, okay? Like, I covet strength of body, strength of mind, character, and will. Because I feel all four combined will help me become the man I want to be. That's just the nature of how I live my life. I've got someone I want to be. I want to go and meet him somewhere. But so the thing is, though, is running just inherently feels like I'm getting to that course because it is so high impact for me. Like the feeling of my feet hitting the ground and feeling it thunder beneath me. Just, it gets the good chemicals. And like, want to know the best part?
What?
2017, okay? That was before my treadmill broke at my parents' house. 2017, I ran a singular 5K. I was making a 9-minute mile. It was pretty great. Yesterday, first time running seriously in, since 2017. In, what is that, 4 years? Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah, about that.
10-minute mile. I have not degraded as much as I thought. I am still powerful. It is very nice. Like, I was able to maintain a constant run for 20 minutes with like a 30-second water break at the 10-minute mark. Like, that feels so good. But like, this is why I like it though, because God, does running suck ass.
Yeah.
Like, I have to maintain strength of body, mind, will, and character all at once to maintain it. Because it sucks. I'm feeling my titties jiggling, my sides are going, like, I'm feeling kind of lardy here. I gotta keep going. I have to do this for myself. Strength of will. God, I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I want to stop. Strength of mind, we're still going. My muscles are screaming. Strength of body, we're still going. I have to do this for myself. Strength of character. Like, it is everything that I covet at one point, and it overrides how shitty running feels on the body and just makes it so easy to push on. Like, it was so weird yesterday seeing myself in the mirror next to the treadmill and being like, I recognize that son of a bitch.
That's the thing. Back in high school, I used to love running. Like every day after school, like I'd come back. I lived in like a small village. I would go out with friends, and we every night, regardless of the weather, we would basically go to the near primary school, which was like a minute walk. It was next to like this giant primary. It was like next to this giant playing field and all this kind of stuff. And we would play hide and seek. We would play like catch tag and all this kind of stuff. And we would basically, for 2 to 3 hours each night, we would just be running as fast as we damn could away from each other, just playing games. And I miss that. I miss that because it was so much fun. And that was the most active I was ever in my life. Like at that point, I was able to do like 5K runs. And that wasn't me even like conscious of what I was doing. I just enjoyed running. But there was like, I can pinpoint the exact point in my life where I stopped enjoying running.
Did you run so fast that you only left yourself in darkness?
No. Like this is like a really deep-seated thing, and like this really caused an issue for me. I have always had breathing issues.
Same.
Like to the point where I would breathe heavily without even kind of like thinking about it. I've learned to control it. I've learned to like not do it as much anymore. Sometimes when I'm just like fully relaxed, I'll just like sometimes start breathing a little bit heavily, but that's it. I've always had issues with like breathing. Like my passageways aren't exactly formed properly or something. I don't know what the fuck it was. But I remember running and I was like a bunch of friends, people I thought who were friends in high school. I was trying to catch up with them on a 6K run during a gym lesson, and one of them just like, "Oh, can you hear that? Oh, it must be him."
Oh.
Yeah. And at that point I was just like, fuck. That just destroyed me at that point, and I just didn't like running. I became so self-conscious about exercise and just sounding and just being heard at that point. And that's...
I feel like a lot of people are self-conscious about sounding.
Yeah, but I took it to the point where I didn't even do things that I enjoyed doing anymore with friends.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I know you were telling a very personal story, but I heard a reasonable way to make a sounding joke, and I had to. Don't Google it.
What is it?
I'm adding this into live notes.
No, I actually didn't. If there was a joke, I didn't get it. Hold on.
Sounding is when somebody puts a rod through your urethra and jerks you off.
So it's literal pump action. Nice.
Yeah. 38 to 21.
I love having my dick used as a pump action buckshot.
Sounding explanation.
You can put a note in, but I'm leaving all of this in. I'm sorry.
No, that's,
everyone
that's actually like one of those things that terrifies me though, because I can only imagine how much it hurts. I have seen it. I didn't even want to see it, and yet here we are.
Wasn't that part of like the Pain Olympics or something?
It might have been. Hell if I know. I never watched the Pain Olympics.
I only saw parts of it. It wasn't part of the Pain Olympics, but there's this one video online, and I can never find it. And the thing is, even looking for it is really dangerous. Because I'm going to explain this, and I want you to think: how would you look this up? How would you try and look this up in a Google search engine, in just a search engine, without seeming like an absolute fucking psycho? I saw this GIF absolutely years ago of this dude just walks into frame, and they've covered their pee-pee in tinfoil, and they just slowly move towards a plug socket. And they touch, and there's just this flash of light, and there's just like, whoa! And that's it. That's literally it.
Hate that. I hate that.
But it's just the funniest shit ever. It's like, it's not like he's wearing trousers and all this kind of stuff, and you just see like this tinfoil penis come in, and it's not even like a correct shape. It's just a cone, and you know what it is, and it's just walks around as a flashlight. Whoa! It's just so good. How would you search for that? How do you search for that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yeah, no, like it really was surreal yesterday. I caught like a couple of glimpses of myself on my way to the gym, and it felt weird recognizing the look I was getting back and being like, damn, there's the man. There's the guy. Like, God, having so much stress off my plate and finally like dealing with my stuff, like I genuinely feel returned to self. Like I feel like I am where I should be again.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks I had to go through all the stuff I had to go through last week, but, like, I had to go through a bunch of stuff to get here, and that genuinely has served me super well, because now it's like, I can get back to what's important to me, which is coveting strength of self.
This is true. I mean, the idea of losing sense of self, because let's face it, as you grow older, as like, just going through life and all this kind of stuff, you change so dramatically, but because you're living through it in real time, it's really hard to notice these changes as they gradually happen.
Yeah.
So there is this sense, like, when you become, like, aware of yourself, like, when you're growing up, you get this kind of idea, you go through this kind of phase of trying to learn who you are and all this kind of stuff. And then you kind of, at some point, figure out who you are. And you're like, okay, that's who I am. These are my values. This is what I like. All this kind of stuff. Then you'll be, like, looking back at yourself in a couple of years' time and be like, what the hell happened to me? Who am I? Like, what happened with me? And it's just, people change. It's the way it is.
For me, I've known who I've been for years, and it hasn't really changed. How I've conducted myself has changed, but my guiding set of principles has remained static. My thing is, the last year I've been so goddamn stressed that everything became awful, so I just wasn't dealing with anything.
Yeah, so you changed.
I wouldn't say I changed. I just became manic for a year and, like, had a hard reset, and now I'm back to normal.
Yeah, you changed, and then you've kind of pulled yourself back to where you want to be and where you perceive yourself.
I wouldn't really call it...
It took this giant crash for you to realize you've strayed from your path of who you think you are.
Well, the other thing is I always had confidence issues, and I found that a lot of those kind of solved themselves the second I picked, like, I want to be good at just this one thing. Because you know the saying, don't half-ass a lot of things, full-ass one thing. I'm now full-assing character sculpting.
Are you talking about the jack of all trades, master of none?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, I disagree with that.
Well, here's the thing. At least for me personally, saying I am Cam, character artist, that's it. That is the thing that I'm good at. That's where I can, like, hang my hat. That's where I can feel my pride because I know that is me. Like, there is no ambiguous nature to it. It is just, this is me.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I'm a big proponent of multi-potentiality, where it's, do you know the full saying of jack of all trades, master of none?
No.
It's jack of all trades, master of none, better than master of one. Basically, yeah, it's great if you can specialize into one thing and all this. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's also nothing wrong with being good or if not great at a multiple of like tons of different skills. If you're like, let me try and rephrase this, because I've had this talk with a couple of people and be like, no, master, this doesn't make sense. Have you ever felt like you want to just explore a bunch of different things where
I mean, yeah, that's been me the last year. That's half of what my issue was.
For some, it might be an issue. For others, it's just the way that they're wired in that sense. I mean, some people might call it like minor obsessions. It might be hyperfixations. It might be whatever. I don't know the correct terminology for it. But it's a case of I am very quick to pick up new skills. I can pick things up and I can be relatively good at them within a short period of time. But then that curve of learning to go from being good to then going into something really good, like mastering it basically, is so much, it takes so much more time than it would be for people to like go from a steady learner to master kind of time, if that makes sense. That learning curve is just very skewed for me. So what this has pushed me towards, just I have so many things that I'm interested in that I want to try, and I do that, and I get good. I get relatively good at all these different things. Some I just don't vibe with at all. I'm just not good with them at all. So I just be like, I tried it. I'm gonna leave it be now because I don't like it. It's not something I want to pursue anymore.
Yeah.
It's a case of don't be afraid of just exploring all these different things that you're interested in. If you make sure you can like, you have a couple of core things that you know that you're good at and you can pursue and do all this kind of stuff. But there's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with being interested in a lot of things.
Yeah. You see, my issue is just like, I keep picking skills that are like 10,000 hours to master kind of deals. Like I routinely pick like long-term things.
I mean, let's face it.
And then try and do them in a short term.
if we're talking about it, like the idea of this whole idea of it takes 10,000 hours to master something, it's a myth. It's an absolute myth. Yeah, I mean, if you do something for that long, of course you're going to be good at it, but you don't need to take that long to become that good at things.
It depends on how much you're able to practice them, though. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, 10,000 hours. Yeah, of course. I mean, but let's face it. If you can learn something at a steady pace, it might take you maybe 100 hours or 200 hours or whatever if you're doing it in a good way. Yeah, nah. That whole idea of like 10,000 hours, it just kind of irks me. I don't know quite why. It's just 10,000 hours. Yeah, of course you're going to be bloody good at it if you put like all that time into it.
I mean, it's more of an idiom to demonstrate that you need to dedicate a lot of time to a lot of hobbies to get anywhere good at them. It's like you have to fail 10,000 times to make one perfect model. Like, it's more so saying that if you don't put in the time, you don't get the results.
Yeah.
10,000 hours isn't some scientific benchmark.
No, it's just that it's been picked up as that kind of idea of, oh, you want to be a master of something? 10,000 hours. No, okay. No, you don't. That's not it.
Alex, you are the first person I've met who views it like that. Everyone else just takes it as a saying that means I have to put the time in.
Nope. I've met plenty of people being like, oh, I want to master something, but that's a lot of time. Like, yeah, but that's not the amount of time that needs to be put in. Like, I get it's pedantic, but it's just, nah.
Speaking of a lot of time, we've been going for about 50 minutes. I think it's time you and I take a little water break and empty our boy bodies so we can get back to making content for the people.
Oh shit, yeah. Midroll, I choose you!
You know what time of the episode it is. That's right, it's the ad break. Do you get ads? No. All you get is me and my luscious voice telling you all about the things that you could have, don't yet currently have, or maybe possess already. I don't personalize these. Can you imagine? That would take me years. We'd never get through it, and then we wouldn't have a podcast. So appreciate the fact that I'm paying attention to you all at once. I would like to thank everyone who is listening and just supporting the show. As always, we love the fact that you guys seem to enjoy this so much. It means the world to us that you enjoy the content we produce. But for those who want to enjoy it just a little bit more, allow me to tell you about a little something called the Patreon. But what do you get when you sign up for the Patreon? Well, you get a little bit less rich as far as money goes, but you get so much more rich as far as content goes. You get exclusive content, episodes we record once a month. You also get to join in on the live Q&A session, as well as listen in when the Patreon episode is recorded. We just did the first one last weekend. It was a blast. I'm looking forward to this upcoming one. And honestly, it's just a lot of fun. So allow me to thank the people who are in on the fun really quick, and then we'll get right back to the episode. Does this seem disjointed? Does it seem like I don't know what I'm doing? Does it seem like I've gone off script? Joke's on you. There was no script. These thanks are heartfelt and coming right out of my mouth hole. And I'd like to give a shout out to our $15 patrons, Alakar Sefiro and Audrey Resendez. You guys are absolute kings among kings, queens among queens, monarchs above the monarchy. As always, we appreciate your donations and we appreciate all of our patrons so much. Without you, we would feel like this was going nowhere. So genuinely from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for your time, and to everyone, thank you for listening, thank you for tuning in. Let's get back to the episode. This ad read was a train wreck, and you know what? That just made it charming and memorable. Patreon.com/podcast tangents. And we're back. So, how was your water break? Did you get water?
No, I'm drinking green tea at the moment, so it's all good. Although last night I was drinking with people on VR chat. Because of my diet, I'm not drinking alcohol at the moment. So I went the next step and I made myself what can only be called a hextuple serving of Gsups. This thing, it's blue raz as well, by the way. This thing is so blue. I fear that when I shook it to like mix it up, it would just snap and glow like a glow stick. It's not okay.
Did I ever tell you about the GFuel incident of 2020?
No.
Actually, no, 2019. Sorry. No, it was 2020. I wasn't feeling my best. I'd been sick for a little while. I had been drinking GFuel, and all of a sudden one day I was shitting black. And for those of you who don't know, if your poop is black, there's a high chance you have internal bleeding. So I'm now freaking the hell out, like, my stomach's been upset for days. Is it because there is blood inside of my stomach? So I'm freaking out. I don't have insurance. I'm talking with my parents. I'm trying to figure out what the best option is. And the entire time I am going about my day, doing my morning workout, going out onto my deck and drinking a nice, delicious cup of blackberry GFuel. The black coloring inside the GFuel had turned my excrement just black as night.
I mean, what was it? Was it Burger King with the black burgers? The black food coloring that turned people's poop green or something? Yeah. Apparently activated charcoal has that effect, if I remember correctly. Oh, man. It's something when you go to the toilet and you start pooping out the Incredible Hulk. I don't know where I was going with that.
The Incredible Bulk. But yeah, no, like that's why I got back on Gsups, because I was just like, I don't like the fact that this had that effect on me. And that I had the panic for a couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, we both, I think we were doing it at the same time. We were like trying GFuel and Gsups and all this kind of stuff. Like we were talking about it whilst we were trying it.
We did that in 2019. I remember because it happened right after a traumatic event for me. And you were like, hey man, it's okay. You're down on your luck. I'll buy it for you. And I was like, thanks, Dad.
Yeah, I gotta say, Gsups I think is for me. Although GFuel is all right, only if they're willing to sponsor us.
You see, like, my thing is like, I just want good flavors. I'm kind of uncomfortable with Gsups right now, simply because I don't like all the waifu merchandise. It's kind of creepy, not gonna lie.
I'm not paying attention to that.
I don't want, like, a shirt with booby all over it. And, like, what is waifu candy? Is that just, like, bathwater flavor? Like, what's going on here?
Let's hang on. You don't want merchandise with boobies on it. Okay, cool. What about that Rem statuette you were looking at?
It's called Being Chronically Lonely.
Okay, cool. Where is it?
On my fucking desk.
Yeah, you don't want merchandise with boobies on it.
Well,
eh?
here's the fucking difference. Okay, I got my Rem statue here because, like, I was going through some stuff when I bought it. You know when I bought this. But, like, this stays in my room. No one else sees this. This isn't even in frame when I stream. This is specifically at home for me to remind me of what I want in a partner at some point, hopefully. Yeah, I know, I'm very lonely. Shut the fuck up. But
I wasn't going to say shit.
Here's the thing. That it's a classy, it's somewhat acceptable. Like, it's not scummy, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have a gross feel to it. It doesn't feel greasy. It's got some level of artistic merit to it. It's not some girl doing an Ahego face in a string bikini. And it's not in public like a t-shirt would be.
Can I just say, I just want to breeze past this, but the Ahego face, why? Just nah.
I don't want to explain my attraction to it. We will deal with that in therapy, or I will deal with that in therapy, and you will never get answers from me.
Good. I'm just saying, I don't see the appeal.
But yeah, no, speaking of appeal, let's unwrap this banana of a topic that you picked for us, college stories.
Actually... Okay, well...
That was the worst segue I've ever had.
It actually leads into a story from college.
Concern. Deep-seated concern.
Okay, this is a first story. This is the first story, and this is not one I really wanted to start off with. I have only ever been blackout drunk 3 times in my life. When I drink, I basically keep control of myself. I can drink to the point where I know that I'm tipsy, and at that point, I just stop myself. That's it. In college, there was some friends at the time that I hang out with, and I spent New Year's with them. That night, it was me, him, and his little brother at the time. I downed an entire bottle of Jägermeister by myself.
Damn.
Over the course of 40 minutes. I remember that night that we went to the nearby golf course. It was somewhere near Edinburgh. And we watched the fireworks in the distance from the center of town. We watched fireworks from the top of this hill. And then all I remember from the rest of that night is blurs of me going to their bathroom repeatedly, and then waking up in the morning with a red bucket in front of me on this bed in the middle of their living room. He was asleep on the couch, and try and groggily get out of bed. I see the bucket. I know exactly why it's there, but I step out, and as I pull the covers away from me, there's just a banana in my bed. There's just a banana. I'm just like, what? What just happened? What is happening here? There's just a banana in my bed. For like a couple of months, I was just like, why is there a banana in my bed? What happened on New Year's? Turns out, I found out afterwards that his little brother put it in there to try and confuse me. And it did.
Succeeded.
It worked. It worked. Nothing happened. Nothing weird happened. But that information alongside some other stuff that came to light with that person, yeah, I really confusing time for me. That banana, man. That damn banana.
See, here's a story from my sacred college days, back when I was still like kind of up my own ass. Because you saw how weird I got during Binding of Undertale's popular phase. So I was going with my friends to attend a social. Because, they wanted me to meet more people, and I appreciate them for that. Mm-hmm. Being the little edgelord I was, I put in my red contacts. So now some background. There was a kid who I kind of saw around who ran everywhere. And he had a very tragic backstory. He was always bullied, so to avoid his bullies, he learned to run everywhere when he was through, like, elementary and high school. Very tragic, very unfortunate. I sympathize with his bullies, because I met him that night. And he saw my red contacts and went like, are those contacts? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you could lose your eyesight if you wear them. You should take them out. And I'm like, I need them to see. And he's like, no, you really should take them out. It's going to cause damage. I'm like, these are prescription lenses that I got for cosplay. And I would like to wear them tonight because I think I look nice in them. And he goes like, can I touch them? No. Come on, guys, I just want to poke them. How do they feel? I'm like contact lenses. Who are you? And he literally pestered me for like 45 minutes trying to get his fingers in my eye. I had no recourse. This man could definitely outrun me. And I had to be rescued by my friend who came over, and she was like, hey, I need some help lifting something over here. And she wasn't even event staff. She was just there. And I was like, all right, man, I have to go. See ya. And he was like, can I come with? I was like, no. And like every time I saw this dude after, he would like keep bringing it up too. It was the weirdest thing. He just started hyperfixating on my eyes and like passing judgment because I wore contacts one night because I didn't want to wear my glasses. Like actively judging me for it. Like it was the weirdest, like most asinine thing, as if I cared about his opinion. So like when I found out like he runs everywhere because he was bullied, I'm sitting here just like, I can see why. He probably kept trying to tell people how to live their lives and they had enough of it. Like, it was the weirdest thing to me. And I was kind of at my own ass, too. I was like, who are you and why are you speaking to me? But I don't even know his name. Who were you and why were you speaking to me? Like, God, he was such a little asshole. But I will always remember that experience because, like, what the fuck? Oh, my God. Honestly, my college, because I was in a game design major, I met a lot of really interesting people. I met this one dude. Built like The Rock. This man was a wall of muscle, and he wanted to learn to make video games because he wanted to work on sports games because he thought they were neat. And I was like, yeah, live your best life. But then we had this other dude who you could smell the like clout chaser on him.
Oh,
and he was all really big because he worked a couple of internships. And he was like, yeah, I got in these game companies. He was their receptionist. He didn't even do any work on the games. You meet a lot of interesting people in college, I would say. But,
there's you meet some interesting people.
One of the most interesting, though, I think, is someone who we collectively called Toady. So to give some context on Toady, Toady was the quintessential neckbeard. Like very, very scrawny frame, only built out by like the fat that dangled off of him. Facial hair only on the neck. And if he took care of himself, I would say he could be a reasonably attractive man. I would say that he had a good skeletal build, if I had to be nice.
That reminds me of a story. Hold on.
But so the thing is, though, is we had a Smash tournament, and every time that he scored, the crowd booed. So that gives you some context, because this dude was like the quintessential neckbeard. I am talking everything that we assign to gamers, he was.
Oh no.
So one day, my buddy and I were sitting in class, and the professor goes, all right, guys, I think it's important that we talk about sexual harassment and women in the games industry. Because as you know, that's still a relevant topic. Like there's still a lot of stuff about that we got to iron out as like an industry. So the thing is, though, is I remember being like, all right, I feel like this is going to be a nice topic. And then we hear from behind us.
Oh, no. No, don't. No.
Wait, we have to learn about this. This isn't even an issue. Like having a fucking meltdown because he has to be told to respect women as people. Like, it was the most surreal thing. Like, what? What is wrong with you?
Like,
but like,
I'm hearing the story about this kind of thing, and I'm assuming at that time you like people like this don't actually exist as well. I've heard stories, but I don't believe they exist.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh my god, they exist offline.
Oh, jeez.
But like another time, I was talking with his roommate, and he was just like, I don't think I've ever seen him take a shower or change his sheets, and there is a perfectly him-shaped stain on that bed.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But, like, he never had an odor, so I assume he was, like, a chinchilla and just took dirt baths. But, like, then another time, because Smash for 3DS was coming out, I made a comment about how I didn't like Duck Hunt Dog, and he sent me messages on Facebook and Skype for 2 weeks about Duck Hunt Dog. Until eventually, 5 people individually had to tell him that the joke wasn't funny to begin with. Like, man, you meet all kinds of people in college.
Yeah.
Like, I met a lot of really, like, good people, too. Like, there are a lot of really, like, talented and amazing people in my class. And I really just admire a lot of them. Like, some of them went on to Blizzard. Some of them went on to Hi-Rez. Like, a lot of really wonderful talent. They stuck out due to their artistic abilities and their integrity of character. Unfortunately, they don't make funny stories. So here we are.
Oh, speaking of integrity of character, in college, in the last 2 years of my course in audiovisual technology, our class had what you would call an asshole. They routinely thought they were way more impressive than they were. They thought they were above everybody else. and they acted in that manner because we were basically doing a film course with which was based more on the practicality of it all instead of the theory side of it all. We made a lot of short films. We did all this kind of stuff. This was the type of guy that thought it was artistic to make a short love story in still frames, all in monochrome, and in each still frame, the most, in quotes, important object was just colored red.
Oh.
This is the artistic genius we are dealing with. We were doing like public presentations for the class. We were like covering topics, all this kind of stuff. A bunch of people it was just stuff that we were interested on. There was like no main theme or topic or anything of this kind of stuff. At the time, I did my presentation on like free resources for filmmakers online, and just like a bunch of free resources that would be useful, because that's useful stuff. It's like, I researched this anyway. I might as well share this information with others in the same field as me. That's the kind of thing that I did. Other people talked about a TV show. This dude came up and was like, I'm a bit of a gamer myself. I love gaming. When I'm sitting in my house that I own in the middle of this capital city that my parents bought me, I like to indulge in my favorite video game console, the Wii. I was like, oh, dude. Oh, dude.
I mean, to be fair, the Wii wasn't really popular console, so I can't say as though, it being his favorite at the time is necessarily incorrect. The Wii was a wonderful console.
Yeah, absolutely. But there was just this one line of, everyone didn't like this guy. Nobody liked this guy. Even the teachers didn't like this guy. And he just started giving off, basic Wikipedia skip first paragraph information about the Wii console. And he mentioned one of his favorite games that he likes to play on the Wii was frickin' Halo.
No.
He mentioned Halo. And one of my friends at the time, which is like, the Halo isn't on the Wii. To which the point he turned around and was like, oh, it's okay. I don't expect you to know everything about the Wii, considering you work in a supermarket. And then he just turned around and just continued as if nothing fucking happened.
Wow, that one hurts. That dude just covered for himself by saying something more egregious. He did the South Park censor technique.
Mm-hmm. This dude worked part-time in basically the HMRC. Basic level accounting for the tax company. They were extremely low level, but they seemed to have this kind of power, had like this sense of power to themselves. Like, I work with the HMRC. I'm better than all of you. Fuck off, dude. You're a dick. You're an absolute dick. This got to the point where I got the chance to, for a project, I was working with a friend that worked at an adventure kind of company. So you go up, they did Jeep riding, they did 4x4 riding, there was like cycling, there was an airsoft, there was a paintball area, all this different kind of stuff. It was just like an outside activity adventure kind of place. So I gathered two of the people, and one of them happened to be him. We grabbed all this fancy equipment from college, we went up, we did this filming over 2 days. The footage was fantastic. Like, we got GoPro footage on top of a dirt buggy, and they just drove it around everywhere. It was fantastic footage. I was so happy with it. The issue was, I had to draft up contracts, I had to do all this kind of stuff. This was an official business. This was like an actual gig I was doing as a favor for my friend at the time. And we got back, and I started cutting up all of this stuff. Sadly, it fell through. The company decided to act a bit shitty about it all, demanding extra stuff that was not in the contract, all this kind of things. And it just kind of fell through. Sad to say, it didn't go. It wasn't handled the best on either side. I will admit that. The extra level of stress that came with it, though, was absolutely unnecessary from this guy. He decided, I want all the footage for myself, so I can do it for myself as well. This was before the contract fell through.
Yeah.
He was brought on as a camera person, and they wanted all the footage, not just his, everyone's footage, so he can do it his way. He even went to the point of taking the 3-hour bus ride to go from the city down to my town. He asked people where I lived, and then basically harassed me via text to come meet me in your town. I'm on my way. I want this SD card.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all.
The reason I gave him all of this stuff is because he threatened my friend to get the HMRC on his company that he
Jesus.
worked for. He threatened to basically get their company audited.
Sounds like a dick, honestly.
He was a dick. Like, nobody liked this guy. But yeah, he was not a fun dude. He was you meet all types of people in college.
Yeah, one of my favorite things in college that I kind of miss now that I'm an adult is freshman year, I was in a really big building. So I had the perfect angle. And as you know, I don't drink, I don't really party. Socializing in large crowds like that just doesn't work well for me. So the thing is, though, is what my friend and I did, who lived a floor above me, is we would get lawn chairs, set them up in my dorm, and we'd look out the window open, watching the drunk people struggle to exist outside. And one day, we were sitting there watching it, and this girl plastered, and her boyfriend plastered, she just starts laying into him like, "How could you do this to me? I thought it was love." And this is the second week of college. So already she's off to a wonderful start. They both are, really.
Fantastic.
But,
Living
so
their best
the thing
lives.
is, though, is she's just laying into him, and she literally, she's like, "How could you do this?" And he was just like, "Babe, I thought you could love her too." And she just slaps him across the face, and we're in my dorm shouting, "You go, sister!" And she literally just looks up at the building, completely not sure what window, just shouted at and goes, "Yeah!" She just starts like shouting "yeah" at the top of her lungs. And the guy is just kind of looking around, trying to figure out what's happening as his girlfriend is doing like barbarian war cries at a building. And at this point, we are a little bit concerned because now there are multiple people looking at the building and we realize our light is on. So everyone can see what room it is and we're praying they're all too drunk to figure it out. So we shut the lights off and we're just sitting there. We're just waiting, just watching. And all of a sudden, we just hear a little...
Oh no.
No, it's not this one. Let's go and try another one.
Oh.
But they didn't sound mad. They were just like confused.
Was it the dudes? Was it the dudes or the guy or the gals?
I have no idea.
Maybe they would just be like, "Yeah, thanks for the encouragement."
Nah, dude, my college was like full of weird cryptids. One time, my roommate and I actually went out, found a trail behind our building, and ended up in like a hobo shanty town.
Oh.
Completely abandoned.
Huh.
And it was the weirdest thing. Another time, our school got a food truck. Its hours of operation were inconsistent. And, get this, it always had people there, never people that we recognized, and we never saw this thing move despite it living outside of our dorm.
I'm sure that was a drug operation.
Yeah, we would see the food truck, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't be there, and we would know that the food truck is elsewhere, meaning it must be open. So we would go on an adventure to find the food truck. Like, it was a bunch of stuff like that where it's like, I don't know where this food truck is, all I know is that we must find it. And the food, delicious. Cleaned out your colon. But it, like, you just never knew where it was. And it was always surrounded like zombies, like just a horde of zombies. And like, it was just weird because some nights it would be completely silent and you'd go there and everyone would be solemnly eating. And other times it would be like you're listening to the Combine Overwatch as you climb up the hill, but just bathed in a blue light from nowhere. And there's the food truck. Like, if I sound like I'm tripping balls, it's because I might have been. I didn't do drugs, but I'm not sure any of this was ever real. Like, it was mythical in nature. It was fucking weird.
Oh my god.
Like, I remember very specifically one time finally seeing a tweet from an account dedicated to hunting down the food truck. And I remember going there, and I found the crowd, but not the truck.
Huh?
For in the time I had gone to find the truck, it had returned to the front of my dorm. And yet no one saw it move.
I'm pretty sure that truck was hunting you.
It was seriously the most unsettling thing. No one ever saw this truck fucking move. Again, I'm not convinced it was real. I think they put a food truck in several locations on campus and just used cloaking technology or some shit. Like, it just never moved. God, dude.
Oh my god.
That food truck, as you can tell, has given me PTSD. But to this day, I still think about showing up to my old college campus at 1 in the morning just to see if I can catch the bastard on the move.
stakeouts for all this damn food truck.
Well, no, that's the thing. I did do a stakeout. Because again, its parking spot was right outside of my dorm building. So I actually sat there one night watching it. And I got up to piss and it left. Like, I sampled its wares. The food was food. But, like...
That was 100% a drug operation. As a food truck as a front. 100%.
God, dude, it was just so weird. And it was staffed by the culinary students, too.
Oh, my God.
No, I remember very vividly one night, I went down to do my laundry, and I saw the truck had moved, and I heard what sounded like just the vocals of the Beastie Boys, just in the wind. And I remember thinking to myself, I have my hamper, I'm in my sleepwear, but I'm being called to by the siren song. So I began my trek up the hill as this sickly, like, pale red glow bounced off of all of the dorms with no discernible source. And I remember it getting brighter and brighter as I got closer and closer to the top of the hill. I passed the safety section, the only source of contrasting blue light and the only source that I could really focus on. And I get to the top of the hill, and there's the food truck. Stationary. It's not open. There's no students. There's no one around it. It's just me and the food truck. And I leave. I put my hamper away. I come back. It's gone. But I can still hear the Beastie Boys.
What? Yeah, no. This is some kind of fever dream at this point. I refuse to believe this.
They had moved like 3 streets down and were still blasting Beastie Boys. But like the thing had a light on its top, which was the reason for the sickly pale glow. But like, why would they choose that color of all colors?
Not a clue. Speaking of cryptids, back in university, the 2 people that I used to live with, we had this little kind of ritual that we would do. Every now and again, when we had like a lot of work to be going on with, we would every now and again just go down to a nearby 24-hour Asda, which is essentially Walmart in America, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same company. What we would do, we'd go down there at like 12 midnight to like 2 a.m. We would just go down. We would just get junk food. We would just get like stupid shit, and we would just get stuff we would need to get power through the night, kind of thing. And it got to the point where we would just do it just out of fun. We would just go down there and just be like, all right, let's see what we can do, because you would meet the craziest people out there. You would see people walking around in just their pajamas, just doing like a full-on shop, like a big stacked freaking, shopping cart and all this kind of stuff. But every time we went down there, every damn time, I would always go down to the cake aisle, and I was walking through there looking for I think I was looking for pancakes the first time, and I noticed something in the ready-made cake section. One of the boxes had been opened. I think, oh, that's a bit weird. I should probably inform someone about that. Damaged goods. And I walked over to it and I looked at it. Someone had taken a bite out of the cake.
Oh.
I was like, oh, that's not good. Yeah, I better tell someone. And I was like, okay, when I told someone. The next week we came back down. Another cake had been opened and another bite had been taken. Hold on a second. This wasn't an isolated incident. So every damn time we came down, it was like once we came down like once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. It varied. Every time we came down, we found someone in the dead of night would sneak into the cake aisle of the local Asda and just open a cake and take a bite. And then just walk away. Unknown. Like the perfect crime.
I don't think it's too perfect. They leave a bunch of DNA evidence whenever you take a bite. Like,
who's
that can be compared to dental records.
DNA swabs and like fucking CSI this crap on an Asda cake that costs £8?
That's fair. That's fair. That would be overkill, to say the least.
Every damn time, there would just be a bite out of one of these cakes. And it just became this kind of thing. It was like, maybe if we come down like a little bit early, we can just like check out and see if we can see someone opening up a cake packet and just eating it. Maybe we could find this cake bandit.
Cake bandit.
But I'm kind of want to talk about another one of just like, you had your neckbeard. I had my asshole. I want to kind of go into like the mid ground of like interesting people we meet in university. University, you're kind of running out of money, yeah? You're not exactly the
To say you're well off is to lie.
You're not exactly the most flushest in the monetary sense, normally. So I got invited to a focus group in my university. Just like around campus kind of stuff. You'd answer a few questions about some stuff around campus, all this kind of stuff. And you'd get paid 50 quid at the end of it. I was like, hell yeah, I'll sit in a room with a bunch of people I don't know and give opinions for an hour and get paid £50. I'll do this.
Oh, God.
I don't know what the criteria was for these people, but some of these takes people had were just, oh, wow. So there were a few weird takes from people. It's like, okay, I didn't really speak much during this whole thing because it was all topics that didn't really concern me. Things like different sections of the university that I didn't even go to, different like areas, all this kind of stuff. But the one thing that really kind of like stood out to me was in this university, there was like a library building, this big courtyard that led off into like the center, like into the main hall of the place, like the reception. And from this courtyard, you could go to like one library, which was like for research, and the other library, which was like a working library kind of thing.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. So the big one where most people go into because it has like all the work computers and all this kind of stuff. There is a bike rack there for people to lock up their bikes, all this kind of stuff. But the bike racks had been taken over by the local smokers. Because so every time you tried to walk into this damn building, you would just get affronted by this toxic cloud of passive smoke. And there was no way to get past it. And the nearest smoking hut, like the little kind of place for smokers to go and have a smoke, was maybe an extra 60 yards away. Which was outside of this courtyard. But no, that was too far. So they basically, outside this library, there was just littered ends of cigarette butts everywhere. And you couldn't walk past without getting just passive smoke clouds in your face. And this frickin' woman just sat there and like, we need more smoking huts outside the library. There's just too many people around this smoking hut. People keep complaining when we're standing there smoking. It's like, we need more signage to allow us to be like, we're allowed to smoke. You're not allowed to smoke here. This isn't a smoking hut. You are literally standing next to a bike rack. What are you talking about? And she was adamant. She was so damn adamant of just, no, this is our place. This is where we should be. We have the right to smoke where we want, and it's already bad enough we're being forced into these smoking huts. It's like, so it's your right to smoke. Cool. It's our right to have fresh air. Why are we being forced to smoke for get passive smoke and being affronted to it and now being shouted at because of your bad habit? You literally have places no more than a 5-second walk away. Go use that.
Yeah, I remember when my school initiated you have to be 20 feet from the building rule. A lot of people obeyed it. A lot of people pretended the signs didn't exist, and I actually watched a bunch of dudes get in a screaming match with a professor about it. Like, it was the weirdest thing. They just had to go like 15 feet to the left. They'd be fine, but no.
Yeah.
They literally could only ever want to smoke in front of the door. It was the most asinine shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like she was just so angry that she couldn't smoke. She was basically being chastised for smoking like 15, 20 feet away from a main doorway to this complex, to this entire university where people walk by constantly, and that people were just being like, could you not do this, please? Could you go to the actual area that you're meant to smoke in? And she got so angry that she's not allowed to smoke where she wants. Cool. What about everybody else dealing with your goddamn passive smoking, huh?
It doesn't benefit us to question it. It's no longer something that impacts us, you know?
This is true. It's just, I don't know, that's that idea of like self-entitlement just really irks me with that. Oh, I want to do it. Why can't I do it? Even though it, impacts everybody else around me. Ugh.
Honestly, you want to know what really bothers me?
Is this a segue?
I was about to say, yeah, the fact that it's the end of the episode.
I've got one more story. I've got one more short story.
Okay, hit me.
I do have one more story. I don't know if this is like the correct way of doing it, but okay. So I had a friend that I went to, I was a year ahead of in college. They appeared and they were doing a course in fitness and all this kind of stuff whilst I was doing my AV tech stuff. And I got a lift back with him part way so I could catch a bus in the next town over. And they were speaking so proudly, absolutely so proudly about the stuff they were learning. And don't get me wrong, I'm not looking down on them or anything like this kind of stuff. The dude wasn't exactly the smartest of people. And I was just extremely happy to have like a friend that I knew from high school in college, because it's nice to have friends from high school, in college. But I got in the car and was like, guess what I learned today? I was like, oh, okay. Seems chipper than normal. And they just started talking about how they were learning about the body. And I was like, oh, neat, that's cool. And they started going over the different muscle groups. I was like, okay, there's the deltoids, there's the trapezoids, and then the skeletal system. We learned all about the skeletal system.
Skeletals.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
You said skeletals.
Is that what the professor taught you? Yeah, we were learning all about the skeletal system. It's, my dude. My dude. I'm not sure that's the correct way to say it. No. The professor was telling us all about the skeletal system. Apparently that's the medical way of saying it.
No, it is not.
I was just so dumbfounded. I was just laughing. It's like, the professor was telling you the medical way of saying it is the skeletal system.
That professor is either incompetent or having a laugh.
I was laughing. I was laughing because it's just like, I don't know if this is real. I don't know. I don't actually know if it is the skeletal system. It's not.
Yeah, there's no way.
It was just, I wasn't laughing at just like the information. I was just laughing at just how out of the blue it hit me. They were just telling me about their day. It was nice. I was just having a nice conversation. Just skeletal. It just hit so hard. Yeah, that just became like we kept bringing it up afterwards. It's just like skeletal. Yeah. So I gotta preface that by saying I wasn't making fun of them, like looking down on them or anything, because at the time, we were gone, and like after a couple of weeks, we had a talk, just me and him, being like, "Yo, maybe can we stop with the skeletal jokes?" Even though like they were initiating it as well, because they thought I was looking down on them, and because like he always used to think that I thought I was better than him because I considered myself smart. I was like, no, I am a dumb shit. I am a dumb shit, and I kind of like had to talk with this guy, and like as we were talking earlier on in the episode. When I learn about something, I try and better myself. I want to try and call myself out on my own shit. So when I realized that, oh, he had this idea that I thought I was above him because I thought I was smarter. No, 100% not.
Yeah.
So no, just to kind of, the reason I bring that up is because it's a fun little skeletal story, and it just ties everything that we were talking about earlier on as well. I thought that was a nice little bow on the episode.
Yeah. And speaking of putting a bow on the episode, we finally wrapped it. A gift for you we deliver. Because that's all the time we have here for the podcast today. Any closing remarks? Any thoughts? Anything you want to push, Alex?
After all these years, I think I need to go and check, is it called Skeleetal? I need closure on this.
As for me, you can always find me and my art on twitter.com/LumoBlaze. Make sure to think about supporting the Patreon, but as always, your viewership is enough for us. But remember, you get cool benefits. But that said, we'll see you next week, and until then, take care of yourself.
See ya.
Find your passions. See ya.